Well, we have a trifecta of terrible straight from Texas because you know what happens when you combine idiocy with the incentive of politics and incompetence? You get a Bermuda Triangle of bumbling that has caused the tragedy in Texas. And of course, when they say tragedy plus time, they're usually talking about things for comics and jokes. But in this case, in this breaking story, what we're really discussing is the freaking truth. So let's start quickly, since I'm from Tennessee, representative from Tennessee, Crazy Man, with the idiocy part. This.
You know, you don't patent a conspiracy. And these things have been patented, they've been proven they do it. Sean Ryan has a podcast out, just oddly enough, this past couple of weeks, a fellow's talking about how they've proven if you just see the cloud, you just don't really know. You can't prove it.
Wait, I thought you just said you could prove it. You can't prove it? Which is it?
But if you zigzag or say Voice of America across of it and the rain comes down out of that, and they've proven it works in some cases. So it's a real thing. Weather manipulation is real, but in the hands of our enemies or some overlord.
Oh, yes. Hands of the enemy. Who are the hands? In Texas?
I think it could be a very detrimental thing, and I'm big on God and just letting him work his magic.
Let God do his magic?
Not people trying to play God.
And then we, of course, have the incentive of politics and one Mr. Ted Cruz. This BS. As a breaking reminder, Senator Ted Cruz stripped weather forecasting funds from Trump's mega bill. Then the floods came. Cruz inserted language into the Republicans' Big Beautiful Reconciliation Bill prior to its signing by Donald Trump on last Friday that eliminates $150 million fund to accelerate advances and improvements in research, observation systems, modeling, forecasting assessments, and dissemination of information to the public around weather forecasting. A further $50 million in NOAA grants to study climate-related impacts on oceans, weather systems, and coastal ecosystems was also removed. Cruz was contacted by The Guardian with the question about these cuts and his trip to Greece. Environmental groups said the slashed funding is just the latest blow to federal agencies tasked with predicting and responding to disasters such as the Texas flood. More than 600 employees have exited the National Weather Service, NWS, amid a Trump administration to push to shrink the government workforce, leaving many offices short-staffed of meteorologists and other support workers. And what does all that lead to while Trump's taking away dollars and taking away workers? You have the incompetence. This.
Original forecast that we received on Wednesday from the National Weather Service predicted 3 to 6 inches of rain in the Concho Valley and 4 to 8 inches of rain in the Hill Country. We worked with our own meteorologists to fine-tune that weather statement, and as many of you know, and many of you in broadcast journalism and meteorology, you can go back and look at your own forecast, and the amount of rain that fell in this specific location was never in any of those forecasts. But listen, everybody got the forecast from the National Weather Service, right? You all got it. You're all in media. You got that forecast. It did not predict the amount of rain that we saw.
And all of that leads us to this tragic breaking story. When you listen to the officials in Kern County, Texas, say this today without giving any apology or excuse as to freaking why. Watch this story.
Ernie's going to go with KSAT 12 in San Antonio. Question for the sheriff. The Code Red Alert system has come under a lot of scrutiny in recent days. And now there's reports of a timeline on Friday morning where an Ingram Volunteer Fire Department commander asked a Kerr County Sheriff dispatcher for the Code Red to be issued. The dispatcher says, I can't, I have to get a supervisor's approval for that. Almost 6 hours passes until 10 o'clock, 10:04, when the Code Red is issued. How do you account for that lapse of time? What happened and what could have happened in that time?
Okay. As I've said earlier, with every significant event, with every emergency, we're going to have to, there's going to be an after action. Please, y'all, listen to those words, after action, okay? Those questions are going to be answered. I believe those questions need to be answered to the family of the missed loved ones, to the public. To the people that put me in this office, those need to be, and I want that answer, and we're going to get that answer.
This rain event sat on top of that and dumped more rain than what was forecasted on both of those forks. When we got the report, it was about 7 feet or so on the South Fork, and within a matter of minutes, it was up to 29 feet, and all of that converged at the Guadalupe, and that's where we saw those very quick rise in flow.
And I know that's going to be asked over and over. Please understand that. You know, we're not running, we're not going to hide from everything. That's going to be checked into at a later time. I wish I could tell you that time. I don't know that time.
6 hours? 6 hours? Waiting on someone to approve, a supervisor, to push a button while the rain is coming down? Can you imagine? Just take a moment. Imagine if that were your child. Imagine if that were a military operation. Probably many people have died waiting on such things. This is a level of incompetence, while of course Donald Trump's policy is to remove all the DEI hires, which is really just a nice way of saying remove all the people of color. So does that mean all the people of non-color that were in charge of this particular region and area and county and its operations? What's their excuse? Skin color? Pigmentation? Or just being incompetent and perhaps understaffed while you go play golf during the flooding and the people who hadn't even been found yet over the July 4th weekend? Shame on every single ounce. And that's a lot of ounces for you, Donald Trump. You guys stay frosty.